Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you today. I have our first guest, which is Mandy Nicholson. She's here. She's a creative coach who's stomping all over the starving or artist mentality. She says that you don't have to be poor, or you don't have to be as poor as a creative. It's about finding the right customers, a kick-ass business plan, and putting yourself out there for the world to see. On top of coaching, Mandy hosts retreats, workshops, and has just written a book, which is now a #1 bestseller on Amazon. Welcome to the show today, Mandy Nicholson.
Thank you so much, Cornelia. Delight to be here.
So how did you get started to, in this work, a creative coach?
It was my calling my entire life, but I didn't follow it. I went to uni, did my degree in art and design, like a lot of creatives do, and then ended up in a proper job, one that pays the bills. Yeah. Built a career around the proper job. And it was much later, and with a loving push from my late husband and just do it, Mandy, that I decided to go and follow what was really my passion, which was all things creative. So that's how it started, which was 2018. And I've built the business from 2018 with a coaching business and added more and added books and added now my mini castle and my creative retreat. So it's grown organically since then.
So would you say, when you say creative coach, right away, what that reminds me of is being a creator of your own life. Mm-hmm. And expressing your gifts, putting your gifts in a structure, and being able to then offer those gifts to someone else. Now, you could be a creator of your life and not be an entrepreneur and not do that. You can still be a creative without being a creative coach. You can still be a creator of your life because you are.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Right. So are you then, who is your client? Who are the women that are working with you? Are those women that are leaving the corporate job, or should we say the proper job, or they're leaving a workplace that doesn't necessarily fulfill them and they're looking for more fulfilling work, for expressing work, would you say?
There's some of that, but a lot of them are 45 plus women that have done the corporate world, that have had children, that are coming towards that time of their life where they've also lived without tapping into their creativity. They've done it as a hobby. And they really want to be doing that all the time and not working in an unfulfilling job. So some of them are coming from the corporate world. Some of them have just been lost and trying to find their way, not knowing that creativity could actually be the answer for them.
So what do you have people do when you first begin working with them as a creative coach? Do they read your book first? Is that the first place they start, or how do they begin? Do you have like a questionnaire that people fill out?
I normally run a 5-day challenge where I go and just give everybody the Bobby basics of this. If you want to do it, here's some of the basics you need to do. And this allows people to get to see me, get to know me. It's a very sort of high touch challenge. A lot of people have come into me through the book. They've read the book, been inspired by my story, and they've followed me, stalked me, if you like. So they come in through many. I've got a big audience, so they're there. A lot of them are there, and this is the thing with, I suppose, the creative mind. The decision making process is longer because they are not used to investing in themselves or seeing their own value. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
they've served somebody else their entire life, been paid by somebody else their entire life, and not really lived fully in their potential.
So how did you start a Facebook group, or when you say you have a big audience, how did you begin that process?
Yeah, when I started out, started a Facebook group. I had my Facebook personal page. I'm on all the platforms, and organically they have grown. And I have showed up every single day speaking to these creative women and saying, you can have both. You can be creative and be wealthy. But they don't believe me for a long time. So they're kind of hanging around there, really trying to understand what that means to them, because it's very easy for somebody to say that, isn't it? And not as easy to understand it.
Well, since we were talking about the social media parts, let's just tell the audience right now where they can find you on social media, like all the handles, including your website.
So, yes, I'm on mandynicholson.co.uk. And all of my socials are on that website. But I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on LinkedIn, everywhere. So you'll find me everywhere. And I also have another website for the creative retreats, which is the artbankdalbeatty.com. So I do bed and breakfast when I'm not doing retreats. So I'm always busy.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love bed and breakfast. I know that our producer was showing your website and all the places where people can find you. So just so you know that that was happening for our visual audience, people that love to watch us. So before we came live today, we you mentioned a little bit about you used a word that I personally haven't heard of before. You know what word that is, but I'll call it left brain, right brain. And you were going to give us the difference.
Yes, and I think this is something I've studied in depth. I see a huge connection between creativity and neurodiversity. I am autistic myself. I have two grown-up children that are both autistic. One is also ADHD. So neurodiversity is, for me, I started to notice how my children did better when they used creativity. And they were very right brained in their neurodiversity and in their creativity. The logical stuff, the left brain stuff, made more sense to my son because he's very autistic. It made more sense to him, but my daughter's very creative and she struggled with the left brain side of things. And the social skills that autistic people struggle with are because neurotypical people, left brain people, don't get us because we are a little bit weird. We're a little bit out there with all these creative ideas and all these millions of things that are firing in our brains at all time, that it can be very difficult for people that are very left-brained, that are neurotypical, to understand. We're usually dismissed as the weirdos in the room, the ones that don't listen and come up with ideas, the ones that don't see projects through, but the ones with great talent.
Yeah. Uh, just for clarifying, tell us what is a left brain person? How do they act? What do they do?
Left brain is more logical, it's mathematical, it's structure, it's sensible, logical steps. Planning and organization is strong in left brain people. Left brain people tend to be accountants or actuaries or that sort of thing. They'll go into careers, banking, financial services, things that are logical and factual.
Oh,
Whereas on
important. It's so important to have people like that, but I can tell you right now that would be very boring for me.
Yeah, I would just give up if that was me. And that's the difference. We are very different people. On the right, we are constantly thinking, what can we do next? Constantly procrastinating because we've got 15 projects on the go at any one time. At any time, I've got 3 paintings and 3 books on the go, as well as everything else that I'm doing. It's just, and actually, I can't survive without that.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
That's a really beautiful way to put that. You can't survive without that,
Hmm.
which means that that is a way that you express your creativity, and it's really important for you to
Yes.
honor yourself
Mhm.
and create these places like a painting or writing or whatever, or even if it is working at your bed and
Yes.
breakfast, for the weekend, whatever you're doing there, that's all creative
Yeah.
work.
Working with my clients is creative work because I'm working with creative brains, the same brains that are firing all of those ideas off. Now, I'm very lucky in that I do have a lot of left brain skills as well. You can learn the left brains. You can learn to be good at planning an organization. You can learn mathematics. Doesn't mean you like it, doesn't mean you want to do it all the time, but it can be a learned thing. And I've done that by working in a traditional career path in retail for many decades. Like I say, it was later in life I've really tapped into that right brain, the creative brain, the neurodiverse brain, and gone, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I help the women who also feel like that, who are confused. It's confusing when society says this is what your life should look like,
Yeah.
and you don't want it to look like that.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Now, tell us about your book.
Mhm.
What is your book about? Is your book about, does it talk about any of the things that you and I are talking about right now?
Yes, it does. I've got more than one book. There's the first book, which is called The Life I Won, which is my story of how I lost everything, but in losing everything, found everything. And the book that was an Amazon #1 bestseller is called Beyond the Ordinary. And it's a self-help guide written by me for this creative and neurodiverse brain, interspersed with the real stories of 30 women. So I brought 30 creative and neurodiverse women in to tell their stories. They each wrote a chapter of the book. So it's quite a thick book. I've written 38 chapters, and there's another 30 stories in there.
Oh,
Yeah. So it gives you a bit of both, and it helps by talking about the process of this creative brain and then demonstrating with a story of how our brains are made up.
that's beautiful. Now, how did you all, I have lots of entrepreneurs that listen to this show, and certainly I have a person that is getting ready to publish a book. Her goal is to be an Amazon bestseller. How does one achieve that? I know there's a strategy around that. How did you achieve that? If you don't
Yes.
mind sharing.
I don't mind sharing at all. I will share anything. That's where you tap into the left brain. You need a strategy. And that strategy, my strategy with the book was by bringing in 30 women, I had 30 platforms as well as my own to share this book on when we launched it. So that expanded the reach of launch. But I also launched it on the day that I was a keynote speaker in a major event. So
Mm.
I could launch it live on stage. We actually did track it from the minute I launched it to finishing my speech, and within 40 minutes we'd gone to #1. So, but there was a whole 2 week strategy behind that of the book is coming, interviewing the authors, sharing snippets of the stories, and increasing visibility from a post a day to 6 posts a day. So there has to be a strategy behind launching a book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what you're saying is that, 2 weeks prior, you were already, and a book is coming, a book is coming. Had you all even thought about doing a pre-sale of the book?
Yes, we did that. We did podcasts. We did pretty much every single thing you can do. The other thing you can do is to look at the categories that you list your book in. and make sure that you are listing your book in some lesser known categories that are relevant to the book. You are more likely to go to a number one spot if you're not in fiction,
Oh,
because
good.
fiction is a huge category in KDP in Amazon. But if it's a book about empowerment and women, go and find a lesser category about women and empowerment. Might sit in business, it might sit in creativity, but it won't be right at the top. That's what I would say. That's important because there's less competition in that category.
Yeah, that's great advice. I'm so glad you're giving us this information. It's beautiful. I'm curious about when you all did your pre-sale of the book. Did that not interfere pre-selling the book ahead of time before the book was published with your being an Amazon bestseller?
Yes, it would have if we'd done it on Amazon. We pre-sold it by taking orders through our emails and our networks.
Gotcha.
Yeah, rather than doing it through the KDP bookstore itself. Because if you do put it up for pre-sale, yes, it does. It doesn't impact your sales on the day. And it's all about the sales on the day.
It's about the sales on the day. And basically, what you want to do is you want to have as many sales on the day that you can. That's your goal.
Absolutely. So it's everywhere. On the day you launch it, you are everywhere for the whole day. You're putting through all the pre-sales that you've gathered manually, and everything goes through on that day. So I had my team processing all of the pre-sales on the day of launch.
Yeah, that's so great because, again, what you and I are talking about right now, there is a strategy, but also what you can do is really allow your creative side to come out. Those of you that are in this process that are listening to this, because you're going to use your right brain as well, your creativity. How can you communicate and create outcomes that are going to give you the results that you're looking for?
Absolutely. You've got to create interest. People need to want to buy your book. So you've got to give them snippets, all the good stuff, some quotes, some little stories. I read out snippets of chapters on lives or in stories on Instagram and on Facebook, 30-second snippets on a regular basis. I just pre-filmed them all and scheduled them in, sitting reading bits of the book. And the authors did the same. We did interviews daily. So I was interviewing. I mean, if it's your book and you haven't got other authors in it, then think about how you can still create that. Maybe you can go and be interviewed on other people's platforms and get onto lives in other people's groups. I think I did 23 lives in the 2 weeks leading up to the launch of the book.
That's so great. And did you choose a date, a specific date to launch your book based on anything, or was it just random?
Nope, I chose the date that I was doing the keynote speech because I knew I could incorporate it. There were 200 people in the audience that I was speaking to that I was going, right, get your phones out now and go and buy this for 99p on KDP, because that's the other thing. Put it on as an ebook, as an ebook at 99p as well as paperback and hardback, and the sales at 99p on your Kindle book count as sales. So I knew I could get 200 in that room. Yeah.
Right, because 99 cents is much better than if you're doing hardcover at $20. Uh,
Yes.
99 cents everybody will do that.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah. Of
will want
course.
to support you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think this is so great. I want to be able to tell the audience again how they can get in contact with you on your social media, and also what they can expect in, what do you do? Do you have a discovery call? How do you work with people?
I do. If you want to, even if you just want to have a chat with me, you can book a discovery call from my website, mandynicholson.co.uk. I'm regularly live once a week in my group on a Tuesday morning at 11 o'clock. So again, there's an opportunity to chat live there, but DM me on Facebook, message me in one of the other platforms. I'll always reply.
Yeah, that's so great. Now, I just one last question about your creativity because you are an artist, you are a writer, you're an entrepreneur. So, how were you born with these gifts that you were always a painter, you loved painting, or did these come later?
No, you ask my mum. I think I drew with lipstick on the freshly wallpapered landing at age 2, and that was the indication that I was going to be creative. So, right from a very young age, I was reading early, so literature was important to me. I was drawing and painting constantly from a very early age. Went to university to do a degree in art and design. It was just part of me. And then it wasn't for decades when I had to earn money and pay for things. So it's hard because that feels like a void. And I know a lot of women feel that void.
Yeah, and that's your why. That's why
Yes,
you're doing what you're doing because you're making it right and
definitely.
you're talking about it. So I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and inspiring us with your brilliance. And maybe we can have you come back on in the future.
Absolutely. Loved
All
it.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mandy. We're going to take a break on the Cornelia Stephanie Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm so excited to bring Amey Deanne is back. Welcome back to the show, Amey.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
So today you are here because we are talking about part 6 in the series that you are presenting called Your Truest You series, a guide to becoming your authentic self. And so this is our 6th episode today. And what topic will we be discussing today?
Today, we're going to talk about taking your time.
Ooh, I love taking your time. This is such a perfect time right now to take our time because, on the astrological level, we are moving into the take your time season. But before we do that, let me let the audience know about your bio. People that are tuning in for the first time that want to know a little bit about you. Amey, you dedicated your earlier life and years to being a mom and a wife. And after facing a separation and ultimately divorce after 29 years of marriage, you realized for the first time that you didn't know who you were. And like many other mothers, you had to put your own wants and needs aside to raise your children. Now that your children are adults and no longer depend on you as they once did, you found yourself on a unique journey of self-discovery. While continuing your career in corporate America, you also sought an outlet for your creativity and you started a side business called Resilient. Initially created as a craft venture, Resilient has evolved into something much more meaningful. You also are an author of contributing a chapter to the Amazon best-selling book, Shine Your Light, and that was the cherry on the top of your healing journey. Now you're focusing on connecting with women across multiple platforms, empowering them to discover their truest selves. And you exemplify the idea that you can achieve anything that you set your mind to, and you are here to talk about it. Okay, welcome back to the show, Amey.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
So part 6 in finding your truest you series. And this part is called Take Your Time.
Yes.
So what does that mean? Take your time.
Oh, it means a lot of things, which is really important. And sometimes I have to reread that chapter of my book to remind myself of that because I am probably guilty on all levels of not taking my time, of rush, 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 rush through this, rush through that. And what I have learned over my healing journey, and that doesn't mean I follow it all the time because I don't, is that every situation where I take my time, the result is much more positive. For example, if you are washing your dishes and you're rushing through it, you're going to leave some dirty. If you are going out into the dating world before you are ready, it's going to flop. It's not going to be a good thing. Whatever the case may be, taking your time always will yield you a more positive result. Bottom line.
I mean, taking your time with everything, when we look at the underlining energy, like what would be the reason for the rush? Like, is that something that you look at when you're rushing? Like, why am I rushing?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Why?
You end up, if you are rushing through something, especially if it's entering the dating world or rushing through your healing journey or something like that, you end up causing more wounds for yourself that you need to heal from, or you cause more distraction from your healing journey, or you cause more pain for yourself. There's no need to rush through that process. And sometimes I think depending on where we are in our healing journey, maybe it's the first time we've been alone, kind of like it was the first time for me to be alone. And you tend to want to rush because you don't like that feeling. You don't like that feeling of being alone. I don't want to be alone. I want to hurry up and find somebody. I want to hurry up and date. I want to hurry up and go out. And that's not the answer. If you sit with your feelings, if you learn to love yourself, all these other things that we've talked about in the previous chapters, you will find that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. There is no need to rush. There's no need to rush out and date. There's no need to rush your healing process. So I think if you will take a deep breath, not rush, you'll end with a more positive result for sure.
Yeah, the other thing that comes up for me when people are rushing is they're not grounded. And by not being grounded, accidents can happen and things can happen. That's why when you said, you're going to leave dirty dishes, things are going to flop. It's only because you're not grounded. You're in your head. You're not really fully embodied in the moment. And trying to avoid whatever it is that's there, like I don't want to feel uncomfortable, so I'm rushing through it, so I'm trying to make this feeling go away.
Yes.
Right, instead of welcoming the feeling in, like, oh my God, I'm feeling really uncomfortable right now, right? And
Yes.
I'm trying to rush. One of my things is like, people that are close to me, everybody knows, don't rush me.
That's
That's
right. That's right.
that's my thing. Don't rush me, because I'm the type of person I'm going to be on time. I'm going to show up. I'm going to be early most likely. And I just know that I need to be able to show up peaceful and calm. And I can't be, if somebody tries to rush me because they're late or because of whatever else they're going through, that doesn't work well with me.
No, I agree. You get all these feelings of anxiety and things that start to bubble up in you when you start rush, rush, rush. And I look back on the journey of being a mom, and you're rushing out the door, get your clothes, get your cleats, get your this, get your that, get your kids to this place, that place. Oh, we don't have enough time. Let's run through a drive-through. So we're eating crappy food, and rush, 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 rush. And it doesn't serve you well at the end of the day. And so now in my new journey, in my new life, I try to take my time. And that doesn't mean I'm going to do it all the time, because I am guilty of, I do sometimes have to think, okay, why are you in a hurry? We're going to get there at the same time. It's okay. Whether it's driving fast, my mom really gets on to me sometimes by one of the freeways that we have in Dallas is probably one of the most dangerous freeways in the country. And people drive. I leave my house at 5:30 in the morning to go to my corporate job, and people are driving 80 and they're on your tail. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get there at the same time. I might even get there safer if I just take my time. So that's just important.
Yeah, I think it's a good boundary to have. I think it's not just take your time, in the chapter, but literally take your time as the cover of the book. Take your time as in life. Take your time, slow down. What's the purpose behind the rush? Is it because you made too many commitments and you said yes to too many things, and now you have to rush from place to place to place? What's the purpose of the rush? And really being able to identify what that is, right? Oh, I'm trying to rush because I'm feeling lonely. I don't like feeling this uncomfortable feeling. Or I'm used to rushing, or whatever the habit is. But to reveal it to yourself to make that change.
Yes, I think it takes intention. It really does, because I was in the habit, first of all, and then secondly, I didn't want to sit with my feelings. I didn't like feeling uncomfortable, but it was very necessary in order to heal. And then after that, I did start to commit myself to too many things. I wanted to have too many irons in the fire everywhere. And sometimes you have to say no, and that was a huge problem for me. I didn't want to say no. I'm the yes girl. If you ask me to do something, yes, I'll do it. If you want to travel, yes, I'll do it. But at some point, you have to cut it off. You have to have a boundary.
You have to have a boundary. So that's, and being able to take your time, leaving enough space, especially finding your truest you. I think that part, a guide to becoming your authentic self, that has to have a lot of contemplation time in between there. Because if you're an ex people pleaser, or if like saying yes to too many things or whatever, if you're not used to being alone and actually liking it, because I remember you telling the story on past podcasts, Amey, when you told us that, how you ended up liking then being alone.
I did. I enjoyed my alone time when I never thought I would. I wasn't used to being alone, and I was the constant people pleaser.
Oh, were you? The
Oh,
constant,
yeah.
yeah. Is, being afraid of, hurting people's feelings by putting your own needs or wants. So, I mean, it's not a comfortable journey. And honestly, like right now at this change that we're all going through, I'm not for the comfort. I really am for the growth. And it's about saying yes to that. And sometimes when we in our growth, we're not in our comfort zone, because there's going to be things in there that are not going to feel comfortable.
True. Very true.
Right? Yeah. So what is it that you want to say else about this chapter or about this piece of the journey? Take your time.
I think it's self-explanatory, but I also think that the whole saying of stop and smell the roses, stop and smell the roses, whether it's you're going on a walk and you're enjoying nature, stop, take that time. Whether it's you're rushing around and you've got to say no to something, do it. Do those things for yourself. I promise you, you will be grateful later.
Yeah. And even right now, those of you that are listening to this, even if you're here and you're like, yeah, that sounds like me. I'm constantly rushing around. I don't like doing that. I feel disconnected from myself. Really look at the reason why you rush, why you're doing that, and why you're not taking your time, because that's really not how it's supposed to be.
No, it's not. And it's funny how I'm on to this chapter. I'm talking about this in this particular podcast. And lately, my devotional wording has been exactly that. Stop rushing around. Stop being a planner all the time. Stop, all of these things were actually notes to myself, not just what I want to tell the audience or the reader, but also a message to myself to stop doing that as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's a constant, peeling of the onion of, peeling another shadow part, another letting go of something else that's no longer serving us as we are becoming our truest self, right? And even at this stage of the game, being on this journey, self-discovery, personal development for the last, 30 something years, and it's still practicing those very simple techniques. And I think the more even that now that we let go, especially with everything that we're being bombarded with on social media, all the shiny objects, all the things, that more and more and more, it's an opportunity for us to embrace our humanity and take our time.
I agree.
So good. So good. Well, let's tell everyone where you are on social media so they can find you.
I am at my-resilient-journey.com, on Facebook and Instagram, Amey Deanne, AmeyDeanne, and also Resilient TX. I'm here in Texas on Facebook and Instagram as well. And when you go to the My Resilient Journey page, you can listen to previous podcasts that we've had on here from Kornelia's show. So you'll be able to kind of follow along if you want to start in the beginning with the T and follow the truest you. We've got 3 more left.
Nice. What's the next one going to be?
It's a secret.
Oh, good. Good. I like that. That's good. Ooh, she's got us excited, looking forward to what the next one is going to be. So now, our job is what show is that? Is that in 2 weeks from now?
It is 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, 2 weeks from now. So everybody, you got 2 weeks to practice taking your time, really taking your time in everything that you're doing. So this is the perfect time to do it. I want to thank you, Amey, for coming on, and I want to thank the audience for listening and tuning in to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. I'm wishing everyone a good weekend and have fun practicing taking your time. We'll see you again next week. Take care, everyone.
Thanks so much.
You've been listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Kornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Kornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at korneliastephanie.com.